Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday to you. It is Monday, May 19th, 2025. If you hear the sirens in the background, I swear to you, I didn't do it. Today is National Devil's Food Cake Day, and I tell you, do with that what you might. Okay, do with it what you might. It's an all time for an all new episode of Project Joy Live starting right now. Everybody. Happy Monday to you. I'm your host, Jessica Dugas, and this is Project Joy Live. It's your triple shot of good vibes every Monday, Wednesday, Friday at the 9 a.m. Eastern Time hour. Though I will say this week it's just Monday, Friday. Wednesday, I'm very excited because I will be taking over story time at the Public Library of New London here in southeastern Connecticut. And I'm thrilled to be bringing them all of the joy, all of the love, and all of the hugs to story time and the kiddos there. I have so much joy to share with you today, and I would love for you to head over to the comments, say hello, and let us know what is bringing you joy today. And don't forget to share out this broadcast. It never ceases to amaze me how many people in my life don't even realize that I'm here with you guys in the mornings. And sometimes we're going through things, and sometimes we just need that reminder that we are the joy and we can be the joy no matter what's going on outside of us or sometimes even inside of us. And I promise you that joy still exists. Sometimes we just need that reminder to tap back into it. So a lot of things bringing me joy. I had some time with my oldest daughter yesterday. We went clothes shopping, and listen, I got to say something about Torrid. I love that the store Torrid. I used to shop at a store next door to it, but I've had some really bad experiences the last couple of times that I went there, and I'm just sort of over it. For especially like, look, I have had challenges with my weight a lot of my life, and so I don't I don't appreciate that so many of the plus size clothes that are out there look like trash bags. They're just not fun. And so I feel like this one particular store that I'm not going to name continues, even though they're supposed to specialize in that, they continue to put out things that just make me go, absolutely not. But at any rate, Torrid is right next door. And so I took my daughter to Torrid and we were doing some shopping, and they have a whole table of like graphic tees, and they keep putting out t-shirts that are the nostalgic throwback shirts. And you know who's a sucker for all things throwback 80s, 90s, even earlier than that. But it took everything I had yesterday not to walk out with a Nirvana and Tupac shirt, but I did. Not together, two separate shirts, but I did get the one that I'm wearing here today, which is a new Care Bear shirt, and I also got one that is Rainbow Bright. So now I have strawberry shortcake, Rainbow Bright, Care Bears. I'm getting all of them, you guys. And so every time I go in, I'm such a sucker. I'm just like, ooh, nostalgia on a shirt. It's mine. So that's bringing me a lot of joy today. Also on Saturday, I had my in-person event for There Will Be Hugs, which was my book that I released last month. And this was my first big in-person event. I'm also, as I mentioned, going to be leading story time at the Public Library of New London on Wednesday. But this was at Dance Country. So shout out to Lisa Mazzaro and everybody at Dance Country for a fabulous event. We had a wonderful turnout, including what brought me so much joy. My sixth grade language arts teacher was there. My reading teacher was there. And I hadn't seen him in 30 years, you guys. 30 years. We sat there trying to do the math, which both of us are not necessarily math people, but we sat there trying to do the math. It had been since 1995 that I saw him. And so that was really wonderful. 30 years, man. It was such a joy, such a joy. And so we had a wonderful turnout and the kids were so cute. So I should have brought it. It's over to the side, but I have this Squishmallows that's a koala. Some of you guys probably have seen it. It's a koala and he's wearing a hoodie and he's purple. So hello. Had to get that. But he sat on my table and had a sign that said free hugs, and the kids would just run up and just hug the koala. It was so adorable. And signed a lot of books, shared a lot of stories. It was just really wonderful. Such a great turnout, and I was so pleased with that. And then I want to share you some more joy coming up today. After Project Joy Live, we have community meditation happening at 10:30. Teresa Warren is going to be leading that. So definitely join us in our virtual community. And then coming up at 12:55, check in for virtual co-working that happens from 1 to 3 p.m. And you can find all of our events and our event spaces at the breakthroughshownetwork.club. The breakthroughshownetwork.club. Go check that out. So with all of that, I want to get into some breaking news. We've got a Joyversation happening. And then our topic today, talking about this is who I am. And we're going to explore a little bit around that and where the joy actually lives. So let's start off with our breaking news. So before we dive into today's conversation on identity and growth, we want to take a moment to acknowledge a significant update in the news. On Tuesday, May 18th, it was announced that former President not Tuesday, Sunday, May 18th, it was announced that former President Joe Biden has been diagnosed with an advanced and aggressive form of pancreatic cancer. Our thoughts are with him, his family, and all who are impacted by this news. It's a powerful reminder of the fragility of life and how quickly things can change. According to early reports, the former president is currently evaluating treatment options with his medical team, and the news has sent shockwaves through the political world and beyond. Biden, who served as the 46th president of the United States and remained active in public life, has not yet released a personal statement, but the outpouring of support has been immediate from global leaders, citizens, and colleagues across party lines, which we love to see. Even in times of uncertainty or grief, there is space to come back to ourselves, to ask deeper questions, and to rediscover joy in the present moment. So with that being said, let's go over to our Joyversation. All right, the Joyversation is a good one today. So Saturday mornings at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time, we have our Soul Saturday morning coffee in our virtual coffee bar inside of our community. And it's always a wonderful rabbit hole conversation. And this last week was no different, for sure. But we had a side conversation at one point about names because we had a couple new ladies who joined us, and it was really wonderful to hear their perspective. But they also had really beautiful and unique names. So we got into this conversation about names. And so today's Joyversation question is, if you got to choose your name, what would it be and why? Would you still choose the name that you have? If you were, your parent, would you have picked something different? Have you changed your name? Because I know some people have done that as well. So it's interesting. I've had quite the journey with my name, because it's obviously Jessica. And throughout the years, people have called me different things, which is so funny because one of the little girls we were talking about how she came up with the name for her koala that she drew at my event on Saturday. And we ended up talking about names then too, which is so weird. But we were talking about um, how she was talking about the short versions or her nicknames. And so people throughout the years have called me Jessie, Jess, Jessica, Jay, Jennifer. Can we talk about that? Um, and so I've been called many different things. And for the longest time when I was younger, I didn't really have that much of an appreciation for my name because Jessica was such a popular name growing up. I graduated, I think, with 12 Jessicas in my class. And so everybody kind of was called different things and whatever. So I didn't have a real appreciation for my name growing up until the first appreciation I had was when I heard the story about how my mother was going to name me one thing and my father put his foot down and said no. My mother was a Beatles fan, everybody. Um, I'm gonna let you guess and pause before I say the answer of what she was going to name me. And I'm so thankful for Jessica after hearing about that story. So my name was supposed to be Prudence, you guys, and no, it just doesn't. Let me see here. Welcome to Project Joy Live. I'm your host, Prudence. I see it's a no for me, dog. No. And so, but I, with the Jessica thing, growing up, I was sort of dreamy like Anne and Anne of Green Gables. And I've talked about that so much, throughout the years on the show. And she was all very dreamy and wanting to be called something different because she thought her name was so plain. And then, so she always said like, it's make sure to at least spell it at minimum with an E at the end. Right. But she would be like, call me Cordelia. And so I used to like imagine whimsical sort of names like that. But I've really come to appreciate Jessica throughout the years. And so I would just stay with that now. I think when I was younger, it was different, but I would go ahead and stay with that. So that's what I'm going with today. Miss Teresa's here. Good morning, Teresa. Good to see you. Sweet Monday morning blessings. Don't forget, you guys, meditation coming up at 10:30 this morning in our virtual community, the Breakthrough Show Network.club, and Teresa will be leading that today. Miss Trista is here this morning. Good morning, Trista. I get to spend some time with Miss Trista later today. Woo woo. Teresa said, my mom has repeatedly told me how she came up with my name and the significance of it. She never liked when I talked about changing my name, but I do get T or T dubs, which T dubs completely cracks me up. Completely cracks me up because I just it just tickles me. I just it's a I've said T before when I'm like when I'm in conversation with people that know you, I've said like, oh, T or whatever, but I just love Teresa. I love that name. Um yes, Dear Prudence was the song. It was a song. Would not have, and I absolutely agree. Absolutely not. No, it was a no for me. Trista said I was supposed to be Anna K. I'm trying to let me close my eyes and picture you in my head. Nope, you're Trista. My sister was supposed to be Alexis. Is this a common thing? Listen, I don't know. So my brother Adam that passed away that I've talked about many times on the show, his name was Adam, and his middle name, the story that I'm aware of. So my mom was flipping through the baby name book and she was like, "Do you want to help me pick a name?" And I pointed in the I just I don't have a book. Yes, I do. Like, here's the baby book, okay? And I just like that. And his middle name ended up being Quincy. So that's what I remember. But I love that name. I'm not sure he always appreciated. I don't know. I'll have to meditate on it and try to connect with him in the spiritual realm and ask him about that. But yeah, so it's interesting. Names are always wild to me. I always wondered if he would have wanted to change Quincy, but I love Quincy over the years. Laura Staley's here this morning. Good morning, Laura. Always good to see you. I have loved my name, Laura. When I was little, people called me Lori, which was okay. And in 8th grade, I asked everyone to call me Laura because Laura sounded grown up and lovely. Anyone who calls me Lori is often a person who knew me before 8th grade. Love you, show. I'm so glad to see you here this morning. Laura, and not Lori, Laura. And I have felt the same about Jessica. I think, like I said, growing up with so many Jessicas, I wanted people to call me, like, we all sort of picked. I remember in middle school, many of us named Jessica were like, okay, you be Jessie with an I, you be Jessie with an IE, you be Jess, you be J. And we just sort of assigned it. But as an adult, I love Jessica. But when someone does call me Jess or Jessie, I don't take offense to it. I I It almost sounds, because I don't hear it as much now, it sounds a little bit more like a term of endearment. So I appreciate that. So I'm glad you chimed in on our Joyversation today. We're going to take a super quick break. And when we come back, we're going to get into our topic today about who am I and where the joy really is in that question. So we'll be right back after this. Don't go anywhere.
Breakthroughs are about more than you might think. They're about discovering who you are, digging deep, reaching to the core of your soul. They're about healing yourself, understanding your beliefs, creating a ripple effect. And it's not just those initial moments that matter. It's about using them to bring more joy into our own lives and the lives of others. It's about having fun, letting loose, enjoying every moment life has to offer. It's about finding a safe space. It's about creating connection. Join us each and every day for exclusive programming, special events, and a community to call home, where we invite you to explore, change the way you look at and live your life, and go beyond the breakthrough. So we ask you, are you ready? We'll see you online at thebreakthroughshow.com.
Welcome back to Project Joy Live. I'm your host, Jessica Dugas, and today we're opening up a really honest conversation about something that often comes up when we're trying to explain ourselves to the world or even to ourselves. And this is like when we say, this is who I am. But what if that statement isn't where the story ends? What if it's actually where the next chapter begins? Today, we're going to explore what it means to choose who we're becoming, to evolve even when others don't quite get it, and to hold the space for joy and growth at the same time. But I ask you also to stay tuned. To coming up at the end of the show, we're also going to be honoring the life of a very special member of our Breakthrough family, Deborah Epelman, who passed suddenly last weekend, and whose presence and spirit touched so many. So let's begin our topic today. The power and the pitfall of the phrase, this is who I am. When you hear that statement from yourself or from someone else, I would love to hear from all of you. Does it feel empowering or does it feel limiting? How do you feel when you hear that phrase, whether you say it or someone else, this is who I am? I feel like for myself, one thing I've been exploring is that it can become an excuse to stay stagnant in our lives, to stay still, to not grow. I think there are certain things that are maybe more lighthearted where I'll be like, I'm Italian. I talk with my hands. This is just who I am. You know what I mean? But even in that silliness and talking about the topic, I think about, some of the conversations that I might be having on a more professional level, and silly things that I might be look like I'm doing some sort of impromptu dance something instead of getting my point across. And so maybe to tone down the moving of the hands a little bit in certain situations, but so things like that are one thing. But sometimes I feel like um I've heard often in the conversation of um voicing our opinion on something with to someone else, and I hear people say it afterwards, oh, this is just, it's who I am, and but maybe they're saying it in a way that isn't necessarily kind or considerate of the other person that they're talking to, or considerate of the situation that they're in, sort of missing that filter. I've heard that a lot too. My husband is one of those people that is sometimes missing that filter between what's up here and what comes out here. um and so we're quick sometimes to say, well, this is just who I am, as a means to excuse certain behaviors or to stay stagnant. And so I wanted to explore that a little bit today with you guys. Identity itself is a living, breathing process. We are allowed to grow, right? Even daily, even moment to moment, we're allowed to grow. Life seasons change us, and that's okay. And I think that a lot of times there could be pressure from outside of ourselves, and maybe not even conscious pressure, but like, somebody will make a comment, or they'll know us from a different season in our lives, and they sort of have this expectation for us to still be the same, and I think we know deep down that we're not. And so it's okay for us to give ourselves permission to change and to grow. And so how do we do that? How do we give ourselves that permission? I love when I've caught myself saying this is who I am lately. It's become a practice for me to, like, I don't have to stop what I'm saying, but to just think back on that for a minute, or to pause and marinate on that a little bit. Why do I feel the need to say, well, this is who I am? Because I feel like there's part of that that's also making a declaration when a declaration isn't necessary. Because if we really are who we are and we really are comfortable with that, why do we have to say that? Do you know what I mean? Does that make sense for everybody? Like, why do we have to confirm out loud, well, that's just who I am, if we're really truly comfortable with who we are? Or maybe there's parts of us that, like I said, we want to change. We haven't felt comfortable. So we just need to declare this is who we are. But side note, I haven't really wanted to take the time to to work on that part of myself or whatever else. And then, speaking of that outside stuff, what if other people resist that growth and that change, and not allowing us to be, the caterpillar? We have the different seasons of life, and we change and grow. So I think it's important to remember the joy in the process of becoming, right? Sometimes, and then sometimes the becoming is rocking in the corner with a pint of Ben and Jerry's or whatever. But growth doesn't mean losing ourselves, right? It's just revealing more of who we are or who we were meant to be. Joy is sometimes shedding of layers, trying new paths, choosing who we want to be moment to moment. Um, I was in a meeting recently, and there were some coming up with ideas for something, right? And I listen, most of you guys that know me know that I love to laugh. I love to have a good time. But I do have that filter of like, what have we crossed the line into inappropriateness? Are we going to be taken seriously, sort of thing? And so in situations like that, like where people might be coming up with things that are like cute and funny and wonderful, I'm also sitting back going, but is it the right time for that? And so for the longest time, I did not really speak up when I would feel things like that. When I would feel like, this is a little bit off for me. Um, and but now I've become much more willing, because there's got to be that willingness there, and open to share. It's really funny and it's great and wonderful, but I'm not really sure that it's a great idea. And this is why I'm questioning it. And it's not to say that I wouldn't be open to continuing to whatever other people's ideas are. However, I feel like at the same time, my thoughts are just as valid, and I would like to have a discussion about it. You know what I mean? So, I think if I there's I'm trying to think of specific things in my own life where I say this is who I am outside of something just silly. When I was exploring recently my purpose, my ikigai, I was on a panel, beautiful panel, to discuss that with some of my Go Brunch friends. And one of the things that I discovered through in myself through that process of diving into the layers of my purpose is that I am oftentimes the bridge between two worlds, or the bridge between polar opposites. And it can be a really tough place to be, because even if I strongly resonate with what's on one side of that bridge, I still have the heart and the desire and the capacity to hear and understand and dig deeper in what's happening on the other side of the bridge. And I will be so bold as to say that that's not a quality that everybody has. Some people are happy and fine and wonderful being on on the one side of the bridge, and they don't need to go to the other side. They don't give a crap what's going on over there, and that's fine. But my I operate a little bit differently, and so I do have that curiosity, I do have that desire to see and know and try to understand what's happening on the other side of the bridge, especially if I have friends or loved ones who are on the other side of the bridge. It's important for me to really listen and hear and try to understand what's over there. And so being on that bridge in the center of two worlds is a really tough place to be sometimes from an outside perspective. Well, and also internally, and I'll share about that in a minute. From an outside perspective, I get a lot of assumption from people that uh that I'm playing both sides of the coin, that somehow by me simply listening to what's happening on the other side of the bridge, that I'm changing how I feel, or I'm not picking a stance, or I'm being too loosey goosey about whatever the conversation is at the time. And that's just not the case. When you're curious about something, and I talked about this recently, when you're curious about something, or you're choosing to listen to the other side of the conversation or the other perspective, the only person that can change your view on things is you. And if you're that easily swayed by someone else, either it needed to happen, or we need to be a little more firm in what our stance is. um, and so I don't worry about those things. I don't worry about hearing out the other side. Um, does it fire me up sometimes if I'm hearing something that is so out of touch from what my beliefs are? Absolutely. I'm a human being. So sometimes that outside perspective of my place on the bridge is misunderstood, and that can be really difficult. And then internally, it's hard. It's hard to process through some of the things that I hear and see, being able to process all sides of things the way that I do. It's challenging for me. It takes a lot of energy. So I'll just say that I have to do a lot of protection with myself, and remembering that I'm a human being, and resting, and also just being okay with knowing that I'm probably somewhere going to piss somebody off. That's just it's just part of it. And so when I was exploring that with looking at my ikigai, what my purpose is, what my passions are in this lifetime, I have had to, when I finished, I remember saying to myself, this is who I am. And not from the place of, this is who I am, period, end of story, but this is who I am in the moment. And who I am is giving myself the permission to and choosing the willingness to change and grow as I need to in my own life, you know? Um, I'm going to chime in on the comments. Let me know how you guys feel about this conversation. I deeply accept myself and so many parts of me. No need to declare this is who I am. Much of my life in the last couple of years, wholeness, acceptance, integration, this inner light of mine shining out into the world. I love that, Laura. I celebrate your ability to be a bridge, to have the curiosity about the other side of the bridge, a way to embrace complexity. Listen, if anybody knows about complexity and being multifaceted, it's me. The only person who can change your inner world of beliefs is you. Yes, absolutely. And that's a conversation, I've had with my children very often, because I feel, not to start this conversation with, or to continue this conversation with an okay boomer sort of mentality, but I feel like times are very different now. So often now we are quick to take offense to things and not have that willingness to listen to the other side. So I've had this conversation with my kids about, what's the danger in that? What's the danger in just listening? Because maybe through listening, one, we can find things that we do have in common. And when we find those commonalities, we find ways that we can meet in the middle on things. Maybe by listening, we can find, and this is a hard one, those places where we do need to shift our thoughts, but we're in control of that. And we can go, okay, this is something new that I've welcomed into my world today. What do I need to do with this now? How can I shift that this is who I am can become, this is who I am becoming. This is who I would like to be in any conversation. Um, and so there's many things that can happen when we choose to listen. We might have an understanding. I remember going back to, there was some headline news a few years back, and there were people on my Facebook page and across my social media, really, who were having these big reactions, and which is normal, it's human, right? But there were so many things that were being said that were so harsh and mean, and at first I felt some kind of way about that. I felt like, oh my goodness, like, what is wrong? And do we have to speak to people in that kind of way, because that's not who I am. But at the end of the day, what I started saying to myself in that moment was, what must this person have been through in their lives, in their experience, to reach this point that they've gotten to today of complete anger and frustration and just, frankly, like, nastiness on social media. And it didn't take away from me still going, I feel like what they're saying is wrong. I don't feel it's right to treat people that way. But it did help me to have a moment of compassion, and remembering that we all have a journey, and everything that we've been through up until whatever point we're at in our lives has helped to shape who we are. And if someone has been through incredibly horrific, traumatizing things, of course, they're going to respond in a way that may not resonate with some people. It may have some people going, whoa, this is a lot, or whatever the reaction that they have. but we can, through just listening and asking ourselves, what must someone have gone through in order to reach that point that they've gotten to, we can have a little bit of understanding. Doesn't make it right. It doesn't make us right either. It doesn't make anything right. It doesn't make things hurt less, but it might help us slow down a little bit to the point of where we can go, okay, I get it. Now, what do I do with this situation? Who do I want to be? Talk about often in the spiritual and personal development world about the mirror, right? The concept of the mirror when we have an interaction with someone and how they're really mirroring back to us who we are. I didn't like that analogy when I first heard about it because I was thinking to myself, if someone's being a complete ass to you, I have no other way to put that. But if someone's being a complete ass to you, that can't mean that I'm an ass also. But maybe I was at one time. Or maybe there's places in my life where I could be an ass and explore it and say, okay, maybe I don't want to be as much of a donkey in that situation. Or maybe, and this is where I really started to pay attention to the mirror concept, maybe it's reflecting to us who we absolutely don't want to be. And that's something we can pay attention to moving forward. Maybe it's reflecting to us a place where we can be more supportive of whoever it is that is reflecting to us, you know? So there's so many different parts of this conversation, but the joy I feel very strongly in is that we get to choose. And when we find that question and that question comes up, or that statement, and we or someone else says, this is who I am, instead of seeing it as this is who I am, period of end of story. Perhaps this is who I am is an invitation to explore who is it that I want to be in any given moment. Laura said that listening opens doors to beginning to understand another human being, their grief, their love, their joy, their fears, what they feel threatened by. And yes, asking ourselves what happened and what happened inside the inner world of this human being. How will I respond? Love the insights. Yes, we get to choose all the time. Care Bear says so. You guys see that I have a sunshine bear on my shirt today. He says it's sunshiny day, and at least inside you, even if it's raining outside. But who do we want to be? That's the question today. And the joy in that question is that we get to choose any given moment who we would like to be, even if the outside world doesn't necessarily agree with us. Whatever. It's whatever, as the kids say. We'll be right back after this short break. We've got birthdays to do, but I've got a very special moment to share with you, so please stick around. Welcome back to Project Joy Live. I'm Jessica Dugas, and this show is who I am. Okay, it's the joy. I've loved having this conversation with you guys today, and we got to get into birthdays and lots of fun stuff. So here we go. Happy birthday to you. I mentioned in the beginning of the show that it is National Devil's Food Cake Day. Do with that with what you must. In the world of celebrity, Jojo Siwa is 22 years old today. Today's birthdays, by the way, can I just say, made me feel terribly old. That's all I'm going to say. Anyway, DJ Marshmello. You guys know Marshmello? I really don't know him that well, but my kids do. 33 years old today. Singer Sam Smith, 33 years old. Singer Lainey Wilson, 33. Malcolm X, who passed away in 1965, had a birthday today. And if you guys remember from wrestling days, Andre the Giant, my brother would have gotten a kick out of that, who passed away in 1994. He also had a birthday today. My friend, celebrity in my life, Emily Grider, has a birthday today. Happy birthday, Emily. And Breakthrough Show alum, who's been doing, by the way, have you guys ever heard of free diving? I had never heard of this until him, but today is Aaron Fisher's birthday, breakthrough alum and good friend for a long time. He does free diving. He's holding his breath underwater for an unbelievable amount of time. And this is a sport. The idea of being underwater without something to breathe with for any longer than 20 seconds gives me anxiety. and but we're talking about like minutes, like long time underwater, just holding their breath. I had never heard of free diving before. Let me know if you guys had. But Aaron Fisher, congratulations on all your achievements. And I'm going to just have to live through you on that because I will not be participating in that. But the free diving, it sounds really interesting. So, all of that said, let's get to our birthday song. Here we go. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear JoJo, Marshmallow, Sam, Lady, Malcolm, Andre, Emily, and Aaron. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to all those that are celebrating. I hope you have an absolutely incredible celebration, however long and whichever way you choose to celebrate today. As we close today, I want to leave you with this truth. You are not stuck. No matter who you've been or what others expect you to be, you always have the power to choose again, the power to grow, to shift, and to become. So the next time you hear or say, "This is who I am," pause and ask yourself, is this who I still want to be? And if the answer is yes, then root deeper. If the answer is no, then invite yourself to rise up because your joy is not in staying the same. It's in being brave enough to become. One person that has been a shining light in my life for quite some time is a wonderful woman named Deborah Epelman. And Deborah was introduced to me a few years back by another dear friend, Dorothy Auger, who passed from this world too soon. And unfortunately, last weekend, we lost Deborah. And Deborah was a guest on the Breakthrough Show and had, in the last few years, been diagnosed with cancer. And the last time I spoke to her, she was very excited because she was getting her hair back and she just had such a joy. And so today, as we close our conversation, I would love to play a clip for you from our 10 quick fire questions that we had when she was on the Breakthrough Show to share this moment of joy that I shared with her in her memory and in her honor. Thank you all so much for being here today. I'm Jessica Dugas, and I want to remind you that you are the joy. Enjoy this clip of Deborah. A little further through our 10 fun questions. Are you ready?
Okay, okay, let's go.
All right, we'll have some fun. Okay, number 1, what is your morning beverage of choice? What do you like to drink first thing in the morning?
Coffee and toast.
Very good, very good. All right, number 2, when during the day are you most productive?
In the end of the afternoon and beginning of night.
Really? I can't. I'm
Really.
so tired at night. I try.
No, for me, it's like something put a new, new in the beginning of the morning. It's very hard for me. I'm starting like that, and then when the day is coming, I go. So I used to work more in the night. I have more clients in the night than in the morning.
Wow. Wow. All
Yeah,
right. Number 3, which season is your favorite?
summer.
Summer. Very good.
Yes.
All right. Number 4, what is something you're learning right now?
Right now, I'm learning more and more about myself because, as
Mm.
I told you, I'm finishing a process of healing a cancer, pancreatic cancer, and this maybe I understand so many things about myself. In the last 2 years, I'm learning more and more and more about myself.
Mm,
Yes.
I love it. I love it. All right. Number 5, when you were in school, what were your best and your worst subjects?
And my best, I think, was biology. I
Ah,
like, yes. And the worst, chemistry.
yeah. I am right with you on that one. It was so bad. That was the first time I had really gotten a bad grade, and I said, this is not for me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
All right. Number 6, what scares you?
To lose myself from
Mm.
being me.
Oh, that's good. That's a good answer. All right. Number 7, have you ever been in love?
Oh, yes. Many times.
Yes.
Yes. I thank God, yes.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Number 8, what inspires you?
People,
Hmm.
light, the light of people. People are wonderful. Even the worst person is wonderful, you
Mm,
know, because of that. I really see people as light. So
mm,
people are wonderful, and also art. I love arts, all kind of arts, painting or singing, music. I love arts too.
yeah. I do too. I do too. All right. Number 9, how do you enjoy your downtime or your free time?
I like to do tapestry,
Mm.
and also I love to read or to see series about beaches and Paris.
I love it.
uh, Teenagers, kind of serious. I
That's
love it.
okay.
Yes.
I like it too. I love to read the and watch shows about vampires and things like that. And my daughters have gotten into that as well. So it gives us something to have in common and talk about that.
Yes, yes. I'm a Harry Potter reader.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Love Harry Potter. Oh my gosh. All right, number 10. Which culture do you deeply respect and or want to learn more about other than your own?
The Japanese.
Hmm.
Japanese. It's very interesting how they live, how they start to meditate since they are children, and how they understand the spiritual things. And Thailand also culture is something that attract me. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I was very excited to have 2 guests on from Japan last month on the show. And so I got to learn a little bit about that. And it really is fascinating. I really every country, this whole series has been fascinating, but
Yes.
Japan was really amazing. Well, you did it. You got through all 10 questions beautifully. You did a great job.
That's good.
If I had a prize, I would give it to you.